honored with this year's Chaplin Award. This is what happens when you have weak immigration laws. Would we be honoring Helen Mirren tonight if that wall had been built? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm happy for you, Helen. I just feel a little bad for Scott Baio. I had a feeling this was his year. Isn't it a shame that roles that could be going to Americans are going to immigrants? For example, the clip we just saw from Red, where Helen played a sexy ass-kicking spy. I mean, couldn't you see me in that part? Running into danger, shooting bad guys, sleeping with Brian Cox. On the other hand, immigrants are useful in doing the jobs that Americans won't do, like marrying Taylor Hatfield. Sorry, Taylor. This foreign invasion isn't new. Charlie Chaplin himself was a pioneer, coming through our porous borders more than 100 years ago. Of course, those were the days of silent pictures, so he couldn't just depend on his English accent to get jobs. But no one knew he was a foreigner, so it was difficult to know how un-American he was. I'm going to digress for a minute. When I was here last year, we commiserated over the government's hostility to arts and entertainment and how that mindset made it easy for them to ignore the basic needs of all people. And that was before Charlottesville, where Trump saw very fine people among the neo-Nazis and white supremacists. Before his self-serving tax plan that delivered billions to the richest people and corporations. Before turning his back on Puerto Rico. Before ending DACA and ending other protections for dreamers and the undocumented. And just 2 days ago, trashing a comedian, for making uncomfortable jokes at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. There was a lot of truth in Michelle Wolf's jokes, and the bullies and liars are still intimidated by strength and the truth. Where we run into trouble is when we allow the bullies and liars to dictate the conversation. The White House Correspondents Association distanced themselves from Michelle Wolf's performance. Shame on them. Stand up, strap on your balls, and deal. And you know, it was the only time that I ever had any sympathy or empathy for Sarah Saunders. The only time. They cut to her, and all of a sudden she looked like she was hurt. I said, geez, maybe she's a real human being. And I thought, you know, she's got maybe 2 or 3 kids, I think. What is she going to tell her kids in 10 years about how she represented or protected Donald Trump? I mean, how's that going to come through? I don't know. I mean, how could she justify, rationalize her behavior? What does it take to just walk away from that situation? Sean Spicer's another jerk, hypocrite, who just sort of said this was terrible what happened Saturday night. I mean, I just don't get it. As artists and citizens, we're all looking for the truth in our work and in our lives. Chaplin was an actor, filmmaker, and comedian who reached for the truth in everything he did. He was an artist. His art knew no boundaries, no borders. His legacy fulfilled by Helen Mirren, whose artistry also seems to know no limits. She brings it to such a variety of roles, from servants to queens. In fact, she played more queens than RuPaul. Whether I'm watching Helen Mirren own the screen, command the stage, or just hanging out. I'm always happy to be in the same room with her. Actors like to talk about process, how we create characters. With Helen, I never see the process. Never have the feeling she's creating a character. She simply becomes them. She leaves Helen Mirren behind to find the truth in every person she plays. She's the world's actor, an international mensch, and a great broad. I like living in an America that recognizes the gifts of Charlie Chaplin and honors the extraordinary achievements of Helen Mirren. That's it.